you. Oops, I'm going to take it right out of there. Good morning. What an honor it is for me to stand before so many incredible leaders of sovereign nations and so many other distinguished guests who have traveled, many of you, hundreds of miles to be here today to share your passion, your hopes, your vision, your dreams with the New Mexico State Legislature. And this marks 1 year since we committed together that there is more than one elected or appointed leader in the state of New Mexico. There are 23. Guess if you add me, there's 24. And this commitment is stronger in New Mexico than it is in any other state in the country. And frankly, that's because of you. Your productive requirement that more than consultation, that respect and dignity and leadership will continue to mark the ways in which we prioritize and make decisions in the state of New Mexico is shifting forever the way in which not just this state, but every state and the federal government views self-determination. And I am so proud to be standing in an environment where we are leading by example and we're making a difference in any number of ways. And while I was a little bit late and apologize to the Vice President that I came in during his remarks and I missed the Chairman's remarks from the All Indian Pueblo Council of Governors and at least one nation, I care deeply about the leadership issues that are important to you. And I am delighted that I got to hear directly from the Navajo Nation about their work in any number of areas, but their commitment to the environment and your sacred lands. And this is a remarkable commitment that the state is showing incredible leadership. We're seeing broadband investments and wind investments and solar investments. And in fact, right now we've got 5 megawatts already on the grid, all happening right now in our Pueblos and tribal communities, and it's incredible. And it's at a higher level than in any other state in the nation, and we should continue to bring clean, renewable energy that's reliable, available, and affordable to every single member of our communities, no matter where they live. So I'm incredibly proud of that. You should expect us to do more. 2, thank you for talking about infrastructure. The state did not do any meaningful investments in any of the pueblos or nations for almost a decade. Now, we made up for that in some small part last year, where the legislature appropriated, because we stood as strong partners, $75 million, the single largest capital investment to sovereign nations in the history of the state of New Mexico. Fantastic. That's your leadership. 3, we are clear that we have a long way to go. And in the infrastructure requests that are in my office right now and before appropriators right in the legislature, we're working diligently to have another incredible investment or sets of investments. And let me tell you what I'm seeing. More broadband, more water treatment, more schools, more roads, more senior centers, more adult daycare, more respite, more transportation, the kinds of things that improve the quality of life, and at least for one Pueblo, a recognition that the state should and can do more to address flooding issues that have eroded the quality of life and the safe living of both elders, children, and families living at Santo Domingo. And we can be better partners to make the kinds of investments that make it clear that we have respect and compassion and we will get it resolved together. And we'll do that sooner rather than later. All right, last thing I want to talk to you about, education. And last year we had a landmark effort We put in nearly $500 million into education. We successfully did that for two reasons. One, this leadership community made it clear that our children deserve the very best that the state of New Mexico can offer, and it also means that we aren't doing enough in our language or any of our cultural and related identity educational aspects. The courts heard you, the state heard you. We put in $500,000. We increased Indian education by more funding by more than 200% last year. Is that enough? Oh, I'm going to try that one more time. Is that enough? Oh, that's right. So this year, $320 million in early childhood education. We're going to get to a place where every child, wherever you live, every 3-year-old, every 4-year-old, we're going to do more money for daycare and upstream home visiting services. We're going to make a difference in the state. We're going to do more on the back end. How many of you think college should be free for all of our college students? Well, then make sure your legislators hear you, because right now we don't have enough money in that area. In fact, we have none. So the Senate is where we really have to make the case that this is a game changer in equality and educational priorities for every New Mexican, including those tribal students who deserve our support and attention. And last, we do not have enough resources in our schools that have significant numbers, and that's not the test. It's just the example of tribal students who have never gotten enough money for language, cultural education, or basic education in their schools. This is a year to stand tall. You guys don't need to stand on a box, just stand tall. And we are going to make sure that we start to turn the tide on all of those issues. And I'm proud of getting to do that consultation and priority work with you. And I'm going to do one more quick one. I'm about 9 minutes over my allotted time. Elders, it's about time that we put back our services to respect our elders and make sure that they can live with dignity and respect in their homes and in their communities. The state stopped providing resources to you, and I see the leadership for the National Indian Council on Aging and the New Mexico Indian Council on Aging, and they are not going to let New Mexico abandon its responsibility to put more money into those senior programs. All right, so let's go get that $25 million and let's get more money into the department. I'm ready to turn the tide in so many ways. I'm so honored that you're helping us provide those investments and those strategies. This is the best state in the country, and it's the best state because you're helping to run it and lead it. Would it be okay if I read a proclamation and then I scooted upstairs so that we can get the rest of the speeches, and then what happens? Go get the money. All right. Here we go. I got to get to the page. And they make it in teeny tiny font that I can barely read. All right. Whereas New Mexico is proud to have 23 federally recognized tribes, including the Apache, Navajo, and Pueblo people, and 25 dialects of 8 indigenous languages spoken in the state. Whereas New Mexico's approximately 200,000 Native American citizens make up 10% of the state's population, and whereas New Mexico's tribes, nations, and pueblos are indigenous to this great land and contribute to the rich culture of our state by maintaining their ancient traditions, their sacred languages, and a harmonious way of life, and whereas Native Americans have faced many challenges throughout history, and yet they prosper and contribute to our great state and nation in many ways, including economic development, conservation, renewable energy, sharing of land, water, and natural resources, serving in the armed forces, and sharing their beautiful and vibrant culture. And whereas Native American culture makes up an important part of our state's identity and brings hundreds of thousands of tourists, and this should also say, but it doesn't, and billions of dollars in economic activity to the state, to New Mexico each year. And whereas the state of New Mexico, through the Indian Affairs Department, works to promote mutual respect and supports the principles of tribal self-determination and self-governance through laws and policies that strengthen intergovernmental relationships, including the State Tribal Collaboration Act. And whereas each year, New Mexico sets aside the first Friday of February to express gratitude and to recognize the many contributions of Native Americans to the economic and cultural heritage of New Mexico and these United States. Now, therefore, I, Michele Lujan Grisham, Governor of the State of New Mexico, do hereby proclaim February 7th, 2020 as American Indian Day throughout the state of New Mexico. I also am quite honored to share a stage with a beautiful remembrance to the late, great Senator Pinto and one of our very proud and honorable members of the Code Talkers. That is an incredible statement of the wisdom, the patriotism, and the continued sacrifices of our sovereign nations. I thank you.